What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ. This is the B side. So, for this particular episode, I want to dig a little deeper into what I was talking about in episode 17 about this list that came out. It was circulating about 50 worst rappers of all time. Coming in at number one on this list was Silkk the Shocker, and me being a fan of No Limit, I'm not going to let that slide because this list produced several names of people I wasn't even familiar with, people that had never sold a record in their life, people who had never produced a hit song, and they had the galls to disrespect Silkk the Shocker by putting him at the top of this list. I have done episodes about No Limit and who I thought the most influential artists were for that label, and I had Silkk. I believe I had Silkk at either number 3 or number 4. And it's because P put Silkk out on the forefront of that label, and he was the poster child for No Limit for many, many, many years. His style was different than anybody else's. He was a he was a gangster rapper with the fly talk, but also tried to mix in a little bit of the tongue twist. So at times it made it sound like some of his lyrics were a little bit offbeat. Several people nowadays have fathered that style or have embraced that style with their music. Rappers like Blueface, who I think is absolutely terrible, but they can't. They father that back to Silkk the Shocker, but I don't think that's accurate. I'm looking at his catalog right now. I mean, Silkk had 2 platinum albums. He was a part of the I'm About It soundtrack that went gold, and also the I Got the Hookup soundtrack that went platinum. This man, several other compilations that went platinum as well. He had several joints that reached number 1. It Ain't My Fault with Mystical. Somebody Like Me with Maya. So he was one of the first No Limit artists that was able to branch out and do songs with mainstream artists like Maya, like Montel Jordan, Trina, all these other these mainstream artists. Like, as No Limit success grew, they started branching out and doing things with other artists outside of the label. He's even got a song with Jay-Z. So take that into consideration when you talk about him being one of the worst rappers. Jay doesn't typically co-sign on any verses with artists that don't move units, right? He's never done that. And I don't think that was, any coincidence that he was able to secure a feature from Jay-Z, because he was, again, the face of No Limit for many, many years. And going down No Limit's catalog, I mean, some of their biggest records: Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, Masterpiece Song, Mr. Ice Cream Man, No More Tears, I Miss My Homies, Ain't No Limit, Make 'Em Say Silkk is right there in the mix, right? All those Soldier songs, Silkk had great verses on. I understand why they want to put Silkk at the top of that list because of his style. But Silkk moved records. He was, again, he sold units. I mean, he had hit records. It's not like he was a scrub in any sense of the word, right? This 3-album run of The Shocker that came out in 96, and then Charge It to the Game came out in February of 98. So as No Limit was starting to hit they were starting the incline for that year where they would go on to sell 100+ million records. Silkk was the one that kind of kicked that campaign off, right? That album went platinum. And in 98, he comes back less than a year later. So January of 99, he drops Made Men again, that goes platinum. So, My World, My Way, a very underrated album, had great songs on it. Had the That's Cool with Trina, Based on a True Story, would come out after the fact. They were the new No Limit label. They would get distribution through Koch. This was on their decline. This was 2004, so there wasn't much coming out from No Limit at that time. But this 4-album run here, The Shocker, Charges to the Game, Made Men, My World, My Way, 4 albums better than half of the stuff on that list. So we're not gonna let Silkk ride on that list. I think Silkk is one of the most underrated artists of that generation. He was one of the first gangster rap artists. I would put him in a category I would for like Fabulous, but Fabulous was a better rapper, of course. But the way Fabulous was marketed with the gangster rap lyrics with the R&B collaborations, I would put Silkk in that same. Silkk was probably one of the originators of that type of collaboration. But yeah, we're not going to leave Silkk on that at the top of that list. That's completely disrespectful. And again, I'm not going to let anybody say anything bad about No Limit Records in that era. That was one of the greatest ever. So put some respect on Silkk's name. He don't deserve to be at the top of the worst rapper list ever. So yeah, let's just end that debate right there. That's what I got. That's the B side. Again, this has been from episode 17, where they put together this 50 worst rappers of all time list. Silkk came in at number 1, but again, we're not going to leave him there because we love Silkk. We love No Limit. So that's what I got. It's been the B side. Don't forget to rewind.